I'm actually very upset because there's this sort of non-existent idea of what games should be at the moment. You have game developers like Blizzard who's been milking the same franchise since 2004. And it's very upsetting because if you think about it, like almost all the games that have been coming out since a few years ago, most of them are remakes. Last year in Game of the Year, you had Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree nominated for Game of the Year, a DLC. And games like Astrobot winning Game of the Year, like a game for kids essentially, with no story at all. Like that's really what game developers should focus on. They don't know what to do. I play RPGs because I love to be immersed in a world. That's exactly why I play these games. I don't want to play a game and feel like I'm being scolded by a game developer on what I should think, my political view or something like that. Gamers play games, especially RPGs, because they want to be someone else. They want to be immersed in a world that doesn't reassemble real life. It's quite that simple. You have games like Dragon Age Veilguard, which that whole game is a statement about real world issues. You can have this, and The Witcher does this extremely well. You have elves and non-humans who are being discriminated because of their race, but it works so well within the story, it's so believable, because the characters in those stories are human, they're written really well. For example, Blizzard is trying so hard to bring back the Lich King energy, like look at this. They're trying to recreate the same Arthur's pose in every expansion. It's so humiliating when you think about it, because you know exactly why they're putting that there, to like spark some emotional reaction out of you, to think, oh my god, World of Warcraft is back, or and like Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei. It's essentially the same game if you look at it, just a gender swap. I mean, what's the story there? It's quite easy to figure out if it's a good game or not. I can't really remember the last time I played a game and I felt immersed fully and not think about anything else other than the game. Probably the last game that comes into my mind that has done this to me was Lies of P, which is an incredible game with an incredible story. It might be not everyone's cup of tea because it might be like a Souls-like or something like that. But the game and the developers probably, they realized that they won this game pushed to like a bigger audience, and they introduced this difficulty slider, which was a bit controversial at the time because it's a Souls-like, you shouldn't have it easy. But the story was so good that it deserves to be experienced by many people, many gamers. It's essentially a story about humanity. You're a puppet trying to be a human. It's powerful. You listen to music in that game, and if you listen to the whole track all the way through, you get this sort of humanity thing, which is similar to Dark Souls if you think about it. You don't need a statement or a call to action to actually enjoy a story. And take Elden Ring for example, it's a game that tells a story without saying a single word. You can live that story through your eyes, essentially. You walk into that world and you figure out very easily what this world is about. It's tragic, and that makes it really human, believable and all that stuff. I think this is the reason so many games that have come out recently feel so hollow, especially with World of Warcraft, because they're trying to milk the same franchise and they introduce characters nobody even cares about. What are you doing? You have characters who are established since 2004 that are being sidelined by other characters who mean nothing to you. I have a review for that expansion and why it failed badly in terms of story and your attachment basically to that world and stuff. It's baffling. And think about The Witcher 3, I've made a few videos about it. Think about what made that game so special. It wasn't really about like killing monsters or the combat, because the combat in that game was actually pretty rubbish if you think about it. It was the story. The story is what got you hooked. Geralt, Ciri, Yennefer, all those characters were believable. And I think that's what gaming stories miss nowadays. It's the humanity. You need to be attached to those characters. You need to care about those characters in order for you to enjoy the game. You need to be immersed in that story, and we don't have that. It's actually quite tragic because you have characters like Arthur's. Probably my most successful videos on this channel were about one character that people care about. Probably if you think about why the character of Arthur's is so compelling, is that he's tragic. You can relate to his choices. You believed in his choices because those are choices you probably might have done. What the gaming industry lacks nowadays in terms of story. Characters like Arthur's. When was the last time, think about it, when you felt so connected to a gaming character like Arthur's? Because I can't. It's impossible for me to actually think about that. There's no answer because there's none. And I know you might not agree with me. Maybe the story isn't the most important thing in a game. Maybe the gameplay. Maybe the way the game runs, the FPS, the game optimization, which are valid of course, especially in games like Dark Souls, Elden Ring. The combat might be the most important thing in that game, and the story isn't that important to you. Why do you binge watch Vati videos? to understand the story because the story is so well made. I genuinely miss playing a game and reaching the end credits and sitting there thinking, oh my god, I needed to hear this story. This was so compelling, I loved every minute of it. I told you the last time I felt this was with Lies of P, because that game was truly a masterpiece in terms of how they told that story. In a Souls-like, where the story wasn't really about reading all the item descriptions and stuff like that. Yes, it was about that, but it was kind of like a combination between Dark Souls and Sekiro. And it was so perfect because even as a casual fan of like Souls-like, you could comprehend that story without binge watching explanation videos, and it hit you. And I genuinely think the focus on gaming nowadays isn't the story anymore or the gameplay. It's about sending a message, which isn't bad in truth. You can send a message, but actually be coherent and it fits the story. But I'm afraid it doesn't work like this anymore, unfortunately. And I will always be an advocate for this stuff. I want the story to be good. If the story is good, I guarantee you, nobody would ever complain about playing a female character, a male character, or having an LGBT character inside the story if it fits it well. And this is really a message to all the gaming developers from a nobody like me who enjoys games. I want the story to be good. If the story isn't good, nobody will ever play your game. Period. That's a fact. And I will say this again, nobody in a million years would give a damn if the main character is a female, if the story is good. Sometimes I feel like they've run out of ideas. You see remakes after remakes after remakes. You have Resident Evil 4, for example, one of my favorite games of all time, has been remade, and it's a gem. It's a really well-made remake. But is this really what is going on in the gaming scene lately? Silent Hill remake, Witcher 1 remake coming on soon. Do you have an original story which doesn't involve statements or political views? And I feel like this problem probably stems from the pandemic, where everybody was sitting inside playing video games. You had even celebrities streaming playing games. Probably developers saw that, oh my god, gaming has become so good. And people who probably shouldn't even be in that gaming industry have come in and done these things. Remakes, political views. Gaming wasn't about this. And I even mentioned this in a video, in the Screen Rant review of Black Myth Wukong. The game isn't that good because it lacks inclusivity and diversity. It's like overlooking all the themes in that game and all the story because it's actually an incredible game. It should have won Game of the Year, not Astrobot, in my opinion. You're overlooking all this stuff because of this reason, which is baffling, really. So really, my message to all the gaming developers, guys, calm down. Gamers want to feel immersed in a game where you disconnect from real life and enter another world completely. That's a gem. If you can do that, that's perfection. Everybody will like your game. And stop making your game statements. Gamers don't want that. Why do you make games? For gamers. It's simple as that. I know this is a bit of a different video. I even used my camera. I wanted to connect with you guys more and really share my opinion on this because it's something that's been pressing me for quite a while now. So thank you for watching.